where do the riches lay? All of the Premier League's giants are well placed to be active in this summer's transfer market, but it is Florentino Perez who will once again be top of the transfer food chain. The Sevilla coach Unai Emery was interviewed before the Europa League final by the Guardian newspaper, and talk turned to transfer targets. "We wanted Gaston Ramirez," the Spaniard disclosed. "But he went to Hull City. We can't compete economically with Hull City. No other quote has quite managed to capture the economic disparity between the Premier League's lucky few and the rest of Europe outside the gates." Sevilla went on to qualify for the Champions League by virtue of the resounding win over Dnipro. Hull was relegated. For the vast majority of players, England is the best place to go to earn their fortunes. Deloitte's annual review of football finance finds itself in perfect agreement with Emery. A combination of regulatory-led cost control and spiraling broadcast revenues mean all 20 Premier League clubs are represented in the most recent edition of Deloitte's Money League, accelerating far from European rivals. Indeed, the poorest Premier League team posted good enough revenue figures to make it into the top 6 of all of Europe's next 4 most powerful leagues. The Premier League now generates £3 billion in revenue, over £1 billion more than its closest competitor, the Bundesliga, which is more than Liga and Serie A combined. In 2013-14, 19 of the 20 clubs in the league posted operating profits, with 13 teams posting record operating profits. What it means is that any Premier League club has a head start on practically any other European counterpart in the market. With relatively few barriers to movement for players, particularly within Europe, England's increased means clearly gives Premier League clubs a greater purchasing power than ever before, the report states. Manchester United has a reported £150 million to spend this summer. The club took in close to £97 million last season based on its Premier League performances, and with Champions League football returning to Old Trafford, at least another £25 million on top of that will be banked thanks to the club's on-field displays. A new kit deal with Adidas, said to be worth £75 million a year, as well as the existing £53 million per annum deal with Chevrolet, mean that United leaves the rest behind when it comes to generating revenue. Deloitte estimates United to have made football's highest operating profit in 2013-14 with £117 million banked. That allowed Executive Vice Chairman Edward Wood to sanction big money deals for Angel Di Maria, Ander Herrera and others last summer. By current estimations, United will have about the same sum again to lavish on the market this summer in an attempt to piece together a squad to challenge for the title. Manchester City claims its initial period of accelerated investment under the Abu Dhabi United Group is at an end. That is probably just as well, considering the club had its wings clipped by UEFA's financial fair play penalties last summer. City was profoundly affected by UEFA's restrictions last season, being forced to cut spending to a maximum of £49 million, and must still keep its wage budget at 2013-14 levels for another year at least. The club must also limit losses this year to around £7 million. It means that City's spending could still be severely curtailed if the club cannot sell off some squad players, even as UEFA's regulations look to be relaxed. Manuel Pellegrini is said to be committed to at least one marquee summer signing with Kevin De Bruyne, the former Chelsea starlet now excelling with Wolfsburg, and Paul Pogba linked. FA Cup winner Arsenal will again be among the high rollers this summer following last season's capture Alexis Sanchez and £94 million total outlay. The year before, the headline arrival was Mesut Ozil, and it should be no problem for the Gunners to find the cash to bring another star to the club. The club's half-yearly accounts released in February showed Sevilla sitting on cash reserves of £138.8 million, with at least £50 million of that rumoured to be available for summer transfers. Arsenal's funds have been boosted by £30 million per annum deals with Puma and Emirates, as well as the added cash from the new British domestic broadcast contracts. A new central midfielder, a centre-forward and a goalkeeper could be brought to the Emirates, with Morgan Skiidely and Patorkesh tipped to be the first to move in the off-season. Chelsea, meanwhile, has managed to free up around £40 million per season from what would have counted against the team's FFP totals. The decision to offload Fernando Torres to Account Milan meant that £18 million was wiped from the books in terms of salary and transfer fee amortizatio figures. Furthermore, Eden Hazard's new contract, although increased to £200,000 per week, also counted positively towards Chelsea's FFP obligations. The value of Hazard's transfer fee and wages can now be spread over a 5.5-year period, which means the club's annual books are in better shape. As well as the new TV deal, Chelsea can also celebrate a new shirt sponsorship deal with Japanese giant Yokohama Rubber worth £40 million a season. It means that Jose Mourinho will not be working on the restricting one-in, one-out basis he has been since returning to Stamford Bridge. The Portuguese has earmarked 2 or 3 signings for the Blues this summer. All are likely to be top dollar.